Uh,
Afternoon, David. How are you feeling?
Afternoon, dear. I'm feeling all right. I've had a wee bout of something. I was told by my wife it looked like it was norovirus.
Uh-huh.
Um, and you mentioned it could be the new COVID, but she said no, it's not the new COVID. It's more likely to be a norovirus, and seemingly norovirus is doing the rounds.
Uh-huh.
To any of you out there that are susceptible to being poorly, don't catch norovirus.
Right, that's Facebook on board, David.
Thank you. Right, that's good.
We'll just give him a couple of minutes to get in, say hello to a few people. So you're out your bout of sickness and fever.
Ah, yes, yes.
That's
Wasn't
interesting.
it was not pleasant, I can assure you.
Well, it was nice to see you yesterday anyway. Did you manage to sort
Aye.
things out with the car, or are you leaving that next week?
Next week. Next week. It's just a case of now getting it. Just so the people that are looking in know what we're talking about. I have a car because I've had my right leg amputated. Um, I have a Cougar diesel that is as much use as a paperweight. And David came over yesterday to empty my toolbox, blah, 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 bits and pieces out of it. And he couldn't get it open because guess what? It'd been sat there since March and it hasn't moved, hadn't been started, and the battery's gone. Well, a modern car, you press the button and nothing happens,
Ah,
right?
you got rid of the key,
So
didn't it? Did it?
yeah, so David was trying to get that to happen. No, not going to happen. So it's going to end up, I'm going to have to get it picked up by a trailer and taken to the wee garage around the corner from me, and they'll sort it out. So, and all I want to do is get it ready so that it can be sold. Simple as that. Because at the moment it's no use to me, you know.
Aye, aye. Well, anybody out there wanting a Cougar 24, hit David up. He'll give you a decent price.
Yeah. Uh,
um,
uh,
just get a couple of minutes to get 100 mark. David's right around 100 mark. Now, David, there's a rumour out there somewhere started that Peter Murrell's charges against Peter Murrell's been dropped, and some guy called Ian Harvey seems to be attributing it to you and I. Now, as you know, David, in the last programme, somebody put in the comments that they thought the charges had been dropped, and you and I said we didn't know anything about it and we'd look into it. So we have looked into it, and none of the charges, as far as we know, haven't been dropped. The Crown Prosecution Service hasn't decided whether to go forward or whether to drop them or not.
but but I think it's gone a wee bit further than that because seemingly somebody called Ian Hardy has made up a meme saying that we had said this, right?
Yep.
And as far as I'm concerned, that's uh, that's a smite against your character and my character, and
Yes.
we have got proof just on the video in itself that we did not say that. All
No.
right. So
No.
at the end of the day, it's like we know we didn't say it, and we know we have proof that we didn't say it. And what I would say is to the person that's done this, and it's bloody stupid. It's ridiculous. My shoulders are broader than that, and so are yours.
Aye.
Um, just get a life. Instead of making up stuff like that and making up a meme about it, oh, blooming heck, what a man you are.
Even telling us we were in contempt of court, the daft sod. I don't see any posts at my door. You see any of yours, though?
No, seriously.
Really,
Uh,
it's
well, if they turn up at my door, I'll say, oh, hang on, son. There's only two of you there. You need two of you plus one of them funny wheelchairs with the climb stairs and all the rest of it. So, that's it,
aye, but it is a silly story.
Aye,
I
yeah,
say we certainly didn't start any rumour to this effect.
yeah.
And we certainly haven't been in contempt of court because we can't talk about the case in detail because none of us knows about details.
We would like it all to be over. But what happened was, is it now
Apparently, it was Gordon Ross
six, yeah,
that said it.
six, yeah, 6 weeks ago that yeah, the file was passed to the Crown Prosecution Service to see whether it was a go. So at 6 weeks, I don't know how long it takes these people to actually make a decision as to whether they're going to do it, right? But I would say if they haven't made a decision after 6 weeks, well, there you go.
Right, apparently the source for this rumour starting was Gordon Ross. I don't know whether that's true. But Barbara says that's where she's seen it first. But anyway,
Yeah,
it's been attributed to us, and this
if
guy's
it,
put
if it was down to Gordon, I would say, well, go into him and see what he's got to say about it. At the moment, we're still waiting on information coming
yeah,
through.
because what we said was when the comment was put up, we'd look into it. So we have looked into it.
Yeah,
The case against Peter Muro was referred to the Crown Prosecution Service 22nd, 23rd of May, and that's the last thing that we've heard about it.
yeah, yeah,
That's why we haven't been talking about it.
yeah.
So,
Right, okay, and
right, back to the funny stuff. Scottish Tories hierarchy meet next week to select a new leader. Wee Dougie Ross is getting put out in his bahookie.
do you feel that it's going to make any difference to the Scottish Tories as to who they make a leader? Because when you look at how badly they did in the House of Commons, right? Really, do you think it's maybe just time for them to just you pick a straw, yeah? And if you get the short straw, then fine. It's like you'll do as a leader for the next wee while, and that's it. Yeah.
Yep, somebody's put a link to the Gordon Ross article or whatever it was that said that the case had been dropped. I'm not interested until it's been.
Yeah. Austin, is that try. What I would do is I would say try bringing it up with Gordon Ross and say, hey, is this true?
And if you want to know if it's true or no, try your search engine. They generally work.
That's right. Aye, true. There you go.
But anyway, the runners and riders for the Scottish Tory leadership, this would be quite funny.
Yeah.
We'll get Russell Finlay.
I wonder if Douglas Ross has booked himself a nice long holiday somewhere.
More likely. Russell Finlay and Craig Hoy, who's the chairman of the Scottish Tories. He's put his name in the hat. They're both MSPs. And then we'll get Megan Gallagher. She was recently elected in 2021, I think it was. So she's a newbie. Jamie Green, well, we all know that, plonker. He's been around a while. And guess who else is throwing their hat in the ring? Murdo the Fud.
Murdo the Fud. Bloody hell.
Okay, so that's me. But to be fair to Murdo wanted to split the Scottish Tories away from the UK Tories back in 2011.
That's right.
He ran Ruth Davison beat him in that contest to become leader.
But the one major flaw with Murdo the Fud is the fact that he is the longest unelected person in the Scottish Parliament.
Yes, he is. And of course, the last one's Maurice Golden. We all know Maurice, and he's enough fun. So that's the runners and riders for to take spot with the poisonous chalice that is the Scottish Tories.
Oh, talking about football, which we are in a roundabout way when you talk about the Scottish Tory leadership, is what about that result last night? Does that mean that if England win the next couple of games, it's like that's it? It's 1966.
Next one game, actually, David. Just next one game. The finals next.
Is it?
Aye, England versus Spain.
That in itself should be enough of a dig in the ribs to most people in Scotland. Look, guys, we need independence because we need to get away from this. Yeah?
Aye, well. Right, John Swinney takes responsibility for election loss.
Yeah, he has said he takes full responsibility for it, right? Now, John Swinney was a leader once before, right? And he left because, well, he failed. He failed to win an election, so he gave it up. I remember at the time I remember meeting him in Perth at a trade exhibition that he was going around. He was walking around all the different places, and at the time I had to say, "Who's that?" Somebody told me, "Oh, it's John Swinney, SNP."
He
I'll
quite
tell you now. I'll tell you now. After what he's done and what he did with the general election, I want his head. I don't want him there. I want somebody else in. He's had his go. In fact, he's had two goes, right? So I know that might be following up on what Alex Salmond and Sillars has said and all the rest of it, right? But to be honest with you, nice guy or not, John Swinney took away our democracy as members before that general election by taking SNP for Scottish independence off of the ballot paper. Now, you figure it this way. If it was in the manifesto, line one, page one, if people don't read the manifestos, they're not going to get that, are they? However, if it's on the ballot paper and they get a ballot paper to actually take into the wee room with them, right, then they can actually see it. SNP for Scottish independence. And it isn't there. And it's what we asked for. It's what the membership asked for, right? And he had no right doing that. Now, I'm not angry about it. I just want his head. All right.
you
You
know,
know, and I'm not, I don't mean I want his head literally, as in, right. I mean I want his head as in I want him out of that position, and we'll get a new leader. Okay.
right, I want to address what Molly's saying here. She's what happened to all the postal votes that were set to be counted at emergency centres. The emergency centres were for issuing
Yes.
emergency ballots, I believe. It wasn't a counting thing.
Yeah.
But could be wrong there. I never heard anything about that. Can't
Yeah.
hear it. Anyway, so John's taking responsibility for the election loss.
Mhm.
Yep. The only problem is the party needs stability, and changing the leader again right now.
Oh no. Wait a minute. I'm prepared to sit here and wait for like 4 to 6 weeks, or even 8 weeks, before it becomes before this becomes dragging on a bit, right? However, he has said that he's taking full responsibility for the disastrous general election result. So when it gets to that time, it's John should be handing in his papers and going, right, I'm resigning as leader, and we get somebody else in.
Well, as I
Now,
said at the time, David, John's a mid-term politician, and
yeah.
it wasn't his election. He'd no skin in the game. Stephen Flynn should have led that election charge.
Yeah.
You know?
It's our very next item on the list is Stephen Flynn is made up or sworn in as the Commons leader for the SNP.
He's been re-elected by the members.
What I would like is I would like Stephen Flynn made leader of the party and actually in charge of both the Commons and Holyrood. Now it can happen so long as he creates someone as a deputy in Holyrood.
Yes, I did
Yeah,
that. That's why John was in.
and the advantage of that is that you bring everything. It's that your leadership isn't all over the place. You've got one person that goes, we are going to do such and such, and that's it, right? So you make Stephen Flynn in charge of the Commons. He can get ahead with creating alliances with other parties and other politicians and all the rest of it, right? And also he can actually put together the moves that he's going to make through Holyrood for the next term, right? And that seems to me to make perfect sense. Stephen Flynn has all the kudos and charisma that you would ever need out of a politician. He's a brilliant politician. He was tremendous when he used to stand up in the House of Commons. He's not going to get a chance to do that now. However, he still managed to get the weight of his leadership through in terms of doing allegiances with other parties and other politicians.
Well, one thing's for sure, David, a big group is definitely necessary.
Oh, aye, definitely. Because the one thing that the SNP have got in droves, so it seems, or so I'm told, is support. So, yeah. They also have a lot of effort when it comes to the push. The one thing they don't have is they don't have money. And unless they actually get their act together quickly, they're going to end up broke.
Aye. Yes, that's the thing. Us members are going to have to dig deep if we want the party to survive. But
And that could just be where Stephen Flynn comes in. Perfect. We'll get the back and we'll get money from abroad. If
one of
we
the main
manage
things
to,
for me, David, is the time this party started listening to its fucking membership. Swinney had
Aye.
they dropped that for the ballot paper. We voted for it to be on the ballot paper.
But it used to do that.
Yep.
We used to be listened to, right? And I'm not going to waste my time over a political party that's not going to listen to what the members say.
And Ian McNeil's asking us if the party members could make Flynn the leader. Of course we could. It's just a matter of confidence and a vote of no confidence in John.
That's the one.
So we'll see what happens as we go forward towards the conference.
Well, to be honest with you, if it's time to regroup, the time to regroup is within the next 6 to 8 weeks. And so therefore a party conference needs to be booked very, very quickly so that a decision can be made on the next leader.
Hold on, Desiree's saying super chat for SNP, but don't send it to us.
No, don't, please don't. Super chat, we send one direction, it goes to the food banks or the baby banks. I don't have time. I don't have time or effort or inclination to actually start splitting off this. The 10 pence goes to SNP and 5p goes to wherever. No, so do not do a super chat for that, please.
No, if you want to use the SNP money,
Yep.
There's a link to the party page to donate.
That's right. Yeah. That both David and I gave 100 quid before the general election, and that was done through that way. We didn't, we didn't go through any other direction for that. Pure and simple. It was just done directly through the SNP website.
Yes. So if you want to make a donation to the SNP, there's a donate page on the website.
Yeah. So Stephen Flynn's the man for me, as they say, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh. I see your new MP Seamus had a pop at the Crown while he was getting sworn in and all. Back on.
I was talking to my sister just the other night there. She's in Vancouver. Just turned 84. Brilliant looking woman, really, for her age. And she was asking about the new king and all the rest of it. And I said, he's a man-child. He could have done so much for Scotland, but he didn't. And when it came to the lack of democracy for Scotland, he could have stepped in and said, right, because don't forget, he lends his power, his monarchy to the House of Commons, doesn't he? Yes. So therefore, he could have said, I want Scotland to have a referendum on independence. See, if he'd have done that, see, instead of everybody going, see the first chance we get, if we do become independent, it's like, he's out the door. We're going to vote him out. We're going to vote the monarchy out of Scotland, right? What would happen is people would go, well, if he did that for Scotland, then fair enough, we'll keep on him for at least the rest of his life. There you are.
I've seen that as well, Desiree, that Clive Lewis had a pop while taking swearing the oath as well.
Yeah.
So I'll need to see if we can get Seamus back on that he's been elected. I did say to him when
that would be a good one. Yes, that would be a good one. You have to remember, guys, I've missed so much of this just through what's happened to me, right? And unfortunately, I've got a lot to pick back up again. But the Seamus Logan thing, that would be wonderful, and we can let him have a pop on here at the man-child. Sorry, at the king.
Well, see, David, you're Republicans anyway, but as Clive Lewis was saying, it's ridiculous that people who stand on a Republican platform have to swear allegiance to the crown in order to take their seats.
I know, exactly.
Right, Duncan McCretcher's given his first super chat of today, and it says SNP need to unite with the wider Yes movement, or the dream will remain a dream. Aye,
Yeah.
aye,
Yeah.
there's not much arguing with that. You know, over
Yeah.
the last umpteen years, they haven't really engaged. To be fair.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, that was Seamus Logan. Now here's the next one. This is an open question to everybody that's on here. Should John Swinney quit? And yeah, if you can, if you can do it quickly, give us your reason for saying so. Whatever you're going to say.
Aye, stick in the comments, and then any ones that have interesting reason for why you should quit come up. And
Yeah.
or if people think you shouldn't quit, put it in the comments.
Yeah. Well, if we, let's get into. I put in here in brackets previous leaders. You look at Alex Salmond. Why did he quit the second time? He quit the second time because he lost the 2014 referendum. Now, it's normal for a leader when they lose an important election to, fall on their own sword. Jim Sillars was deputy leader, and he left at the same time as Alex Salmond did the first time, but he didn't come back again as Alex Salmond did, right? John Swinney, he gave up the first time that he lost an election, and he's come back again recently. And as far as I'm concerned, really, we've had our bit about leaders coming back in again after having done a stint as a leader, and I don't think it works. I think you get a leader in, and that's it. They do their bit. The only person I say that actually jumps over that is Stephen Flynn. Stephen Flynn has not had a chance, and we're talking about as in being in Nicola Sturgeon or John Swinney or Alex Salmond's position at Holyrood. He could have a deputy in Holyrood, and he could run both the Commons and Holyrood together.
Well, we'll
So,
see what direction the party want to go in, but so far, a majority of people think he should stand down. As I say, at this point, the party needs stability.
yeah, correct.
And that's where we're at with that one.
Yeah.
But say, we've asked the question. I'll go back through the comments later on and read them all. But I mean, John, you and I have said, David, he's a capable politician. He's a safe pair of hands. But when you start to go against your membership, especially on your key policy,
Yeah.
on their key policy, then
Yes.
you're in trouble. You know. And when John decided not to put SNP for independence on the ballot paper, he went against the membership. We voted for that.
There's George Neave has just put up he doesn't want to be First Minister. I take it, George, you mean Stephen Flynn. Am I right? Don't know.
Well, as I say, the party and John will decide what direction it's going in.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they'll listen to the fucking members this time.
Yes. Yet again, I take it this is Stephen Flynn that you're on about, Neil McLean. Yeah, he's got a fair amount to sort out, but I would say let's see that the tide was turned and he became Prime Minister. He would have an awful lot to sort out. So I would say no more than a Prime Minister to sort out. So therefore, he can sort out stuff like that and also run Holyrood as well. No problem whatsoever. There is one thing. There's one dangerous thing that I'm seeing on the posts at the moment is people just removed someone this morning for doing this. Is people bringing up this thing about the trans legislation, right? It didn't go through. It got bounced by Alistair Jack. It's not happening. And still, I've got a wee woman worried about whether she should go to a ladies' toilet again, you know. And I'm going, hang on a second. We should not be arguing about such things, right? We concentrate on Scottish independence first. Once we get Scottish independence, now seriously, guys, once we get Scottish independence, then we can start talking about things like that.
Well, independence is a long way off now, David.
Oh, aye, yes. But the thing is, people are going to have to realise that without the independence, you are just not going to get anywhere.
No,
You
things
you
are
know,
going backwards. I mean,
yeah,
things are going to go backwards, David.
yeah,
Which brings us on to Tony Blair and
yeah.
the Dark Lord Mandelson, who seem to be advising Starmer. Anyway, Tony Blair during gave a speech the other day there to tell us that the sick and the disabled are shirkers, and we can't afford to maintain their health and their well-being long term. Well, one of the reasons why the population is so ill at the moment is because they undermine the fucking. They've undermined the health service for 14 years. We've had a
Broad
pandemic.
broad brushstrokes are no good anywhere, and Tony Blair should know that, right?
But I tell you,
And
disabled and
and
disabled.
I myself, at the height of my disability, I actually built a factory system before literally hopping into hospital the following week to get my legs slashed all the way down from my gut right down to my navel. So, you know, for Tony Blair to say that about everybody is ridiculous.
Aye, Lauren, you're right.
Hang on.
Stephen,
Lauren Kirkton, you forget, David. Stephen has a family life. Two young boys. Give him a break. I would rather be in a so-called woman's. I don't know what that means.
he is a
Laura,
busy, he is
Lauren,
a young
Lauren.
fella.
The simple thing I've got to say to you there is I've been in charge of a large company down in England, and it's like I had two Waynes and a wife and all the rest of it, and nobody ever said, "Oh, give me a break," when I actually took on a second board from Ireland, right? So just don't even go there. Men do it all the time.
So the women, David, it's about delegating.
Yeah, that's
Get high
right.
office is about quite
No, but
gets.
but Lauren was actually saying that this was particular or peculiar
No,
to
I don't think
Stephen.
that's what she meant. What she meant is he might no fancy because he's got a young family.
End of the day, it's like why even have ambition then? Why did he run for being an MP? Why did he want to be in charge at Westminster? Why?
Well,
You know,
see, David, it's a bit early to say where the party's going.
no,
John's called
with,
up.
with
John's
all
called a period
politicians,
of
with all
reflection.
politicians, they have to have ambition,
Well, you see,
right?
John's called a period of reflection, he's calling it. So we'll see what happens at the end of that period of reflection, shall we? Right, right.
Stephen's got kudos and he's got everything that you could possibly imagine in order to be an overall leader for the party. So we don't have to have an overall leader for the Westminster and an overall leader for Holyrood. It can be one leader that actually covers both, and it's because what should be coming out of the SNP for the next year and a half certainly should be joined up. It should be coming from one single brain. We're going that direction, and that's it, right? And it's like that's my reason for saying let's get Stephen into the catbird seat, right?
Well, as I say, you need to campaign for that, David. I don't really know.
Aye, oh, correct. Aye,
I mean, the way we've always done it here was in the SNP since devolution was whoever leads Holyrood leads the party.
yes, that's right. So I'm not talking about a massive change. Then I'm talking about a tiny change. I'm talking about whoever it is that leads the House of Commons leads the party. So there you are. That's it.
And Mark's
Now,
point that we've been here with John already, and it's only after John left his position as leader of the SNP that the rise of the SNP happened, actually.
Yeah.
Which is true first time round.
Don't get me wrong. John, lovely bloke. Seriously. Really, really nice bloke. I don't want a nice bloke. I want a leader.
And I see in the comments where somebody talking about the Labour's idea of a sovereign wealth fund for Scotland's renewable energies and oil and gas. I think it's already bolted in that. As for a wealth fund, no, that's not what they'll do. They'll use it as a way of a means of fucking stealing more.
Yes.
It's a bit like GB Energy. An energy company that doesn't produce energy is not going to bring down the price of energy. End of story. Yeah. It's a PFI, a public finance initiative, as simple as that. And as to a sovereign wealth fund, it's never going to happen. One thing we can see since this election is Labour have tried to make it look as if they've hit the deck running, but they haven't hit the deck doing anything.
No. And plus the fact what they did, talking about hitting the deck doing anything. First off, they were talking about building council houses, right? Well, first speech from the Chancellor was, no, we're not going to do that.
No, the private sector's going to build them apart, and they're going to tell the private sector what type of house they want them to build.
But no, they're not.
That's
the problem. No, they're not. It's sometimes. I remember way back in the dark past where somebody came up with the idea of that if a private developer built a scheme of houses, then so many percentage of that had to be rental houses. Yeah, but
and one angry pagan thinks we need somebody to replace John who's going to be a tough fella. Somebody that's got a bit of guilt.
Right. That's right. And the good thing about having a tough guy, let's say, in that position, is that when it comes to dealing with Westminster about whether or not we are going to be an independent country, that person has to be able to blow and stick their chin out and go, yeah, we are independent. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, simple as that.
Well, as I say, it's a rebuilder now. Harold the Younger.
Yeah.
What's Harold going to say? I've not understood why so many put their faith in the SNP. They are not interested in Scotland, let alone independence. The only way to independence is via action, via real world results.
Bye-bye, Harold.
Not at all. Harold's entitled to his opinion. I'm just not of the opinion you should start burning your own fucking house down. There are right to do things.
No, but when you look at it, I don't understand why so many put their faith in the SNP. The reason so many people put their faith in the SNP, Harold, is because we wanted independence. Simple as that. And then
it's opinion polls that couldn't do for the movement.
That's right.
If the opinion polls start going backwards, then we were up against it. We knew we were up against it. The propaganda machine worked. It worked really well. And it will do the same in the run up to 2026.
Aye.
And I think that one of the problems the SNP are going to face here is they need stability.
Aye. Yeah.
Because they have been told that the SNP are tired after X amount of years in government. But every manifesto they've put forward since coming to government have had social progress in them. Everyone. You got all the way back to scrapping tail end university tuition fees, which they had under Labour Lib Dem here. Because they scrapped them, they put on a graduate's payment at the end here. But for free university tuition fees all the way through to the £20 uplift, it'll all go if the SNP lose power. And we know that because Sanwar's already made a start on making the people of Scotland believe that the SNP are all about giving people handouts rather than keeping them out of poverty.
Yeah.
And the fact that the SNP is going to mitigate things like the bedroom tax and the 2-child cap and the rape clause just tells you how stupid people are. We're having to spend hundreds of millions of pounds out of our own budget and get back to Westminster for policies that they've introduced.
There's one thing on that you've said, which I do want to bring up. I don't know whether you saw the poll. I don't know if I can just find the bugger. There it is. There, right now, we had a poll that it was by Savanta, and it found that most people voted to get rid of the Tories. Right. So, in other words, they voted Labour to get rid of the Tories. Right. And we can actually see from if you look on my timeline and you get a chance to run down a bit, you'll actually see there's a post by Independent Voices, and it explains that 81% of the people wanted the end of a Conservative government in Scotland. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so hang on, I'm just making sure I've got this the right way around. Yep, and the and the other one wanted a Labour government. Only 14% in Scotland wanted a Labour government. So people were prepared to come out of their houses, go to the polling station, vote Labour, even though they didn't want a Labour government, but they just wanted rid of the Tories.
Well, as I
How,
say, what's going to be interesting about the 2026 election is we'll see whether we're back to the old pattern of voting one way for Westminster and another way for Holyrood.
well, I have to say, it's like, how fucking stupid do you need to be to vote Labour? In your head, if you look at this from this Savanta poll, right? In your head, you wanted a Labour government, right? Only 14% of people wanted a Labour government, and yet 81% wanted rid or the end of a Conservative government. So what happened was that 81% voted Labour to get rid of the Tories.
Well, David, what we do know is that Starmer didn't win the election. The Tories lost it. As you and
Oh,
I know, Starmer even got even less votes than Corbyn got at the last election.
yeah, what was he? What was he got? He got 600,000 less votes than Corbyn got in 2019.
Yep.
And if I can just bring, where's the numbers
And
I've got
vote share
here?
was the same, 34%,
Yeah,
which shows you how skew with the system is. But
yeah, yes,
now, wait a
crazy.
minute. Out of all the nonsense that's going on down that road, what's the
Yeah,
story with Farage having a pop at Berko?
I know. He stood up and he gave Lindsay Hoyle, he went, well done, Lindsay, you Tory through and through and all the rest of it, and we're really pleased that you're there. And he said, unlike that other gentleman, John Bercow, was a disgraceful speaker or something, words to that extent. And it's like you could hear voices throughout the comments going, "Well, that's not right. That's wrong." Because John Bercow was loved by a lot of people. He really was. I like
Austin,
John Bercow. You
Austin,
know.
the answer to your question is 7% of the Scottish voting population voted for Farage.
Yeah. Okay.
As
Fine.
But hey, I see. I just seen the passing headline. I thought, what's the script with Farage having a pop at Berkel? Berkel's not
Yeah.
even there anymore.
I know. I know.
But it shows you how stupid that, how silly the first couple of weeks of new administration
Well,
is.
also they're talking about Farage resigning as leader of Reform, even though that's him now. He's got his first MP seat. It looks like his own party are going, come on, John. Come on, Nigel. We want you out. You know, but like, the England fans want rid of the England manager, and he hasn't even lost yet. But they still want rid of him. Yeah.
Well, I did notice that Nigel had threatened to sack his deputy leader or something.
Aye. Yeah. Well.
And Reform fake candidate conspiracy theories debunked. So apparently, this idea that they ghost candidates is no true. Virtual candidates. Apparently, every name was a real person.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, fact checker says that that these candidates did exist, Tina.
Yeah.
You know, but as I say, it's quite interesting that, you know, they've got 5 MPs and they're fighting amongst themselves already.
Yes.
Mental.
Can you imagine what it would have been like if all those years ago UKIP, with their 4 million votes, had managed to get a few, you know, say 5 MPs. As it was, they didn't get a single one with 4 million votes because we're all spread right the way through England, right? Honestly, with Nigel Farage in charge of any party, it will never, ever do well. Never. Because the people that support reform are quite frankly, they're after Eads. All right, something like that.
Well, I was looking at a bit of information the other day there that says up to 4 million people were disenfranchised in that election.
There you go.
So, that in itself should be enough to say, hold on a wee second, we better have a look at this, because if 4 million people, just saying that, the amount of people whose voice didn't count anyway, you just said 81% wanted British Tories, but only 14% wanted Labour, you know what I mean? It just shows you, actually, when you get right down to it, the system's busted, it's a busted flush.
Yeah.
People have absolutely all confidence in it.
It was just people reverting back to the old situation where you voted Labour because you were a socialist, a Scottish socialist, and you didn't realise that England doesn't need us in order to choose the government of the day. The English people choose the government of the day. The people of Scotland can pile in at the back of it, but they're still not going to make any difference to that number, right?
Aye.
The reason we were saying to people vote SNP is because it gave us a voice to start pushing for independence. Not going to get that chance now. Our democracy went with the Supreme Court, and unless that's challenged, not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah,
We might get a second go at the Scottish election, but don't hold your breath.
As I said, every movement had its moments. This movement's moments passed.
Yes, correct.
But this movement had a few moments. You know?
Yep, correct, David. I agree with you. We're not trying to kill your spirit, guys. Understand that. What we're trying to do is we're trying to make you realise the truth of what's happened to you. You're not going to win. You're not going to fight this back just over one term. It's not going to happen. This is now going to be. This is a long haul. And in actual fact, I just hope that when it gets to the Scottish election in 2026, that we see some degree of a reaction of the Scottish people, that they might just be willing to give it a go. However, after the Scottish election, you're not going to do it, are you? You know, you're talking about maybe moving on to the general election after that, 2028, 2029. Yeah, maybe we treat that as a plebiscite.
I don't know. I really don't know where it goes to here, David. What I do know is I'm going to be concentrating and trying to help the SNP stay in power at Holyrood for the sake of our people.
Yeah, well, it's you know, it's that's the way it is now. See if the SNP don't get money over the next wee while, right? That's it. It's up there. It's up in the air. The whole thing's up in the air. That's just a businessman's answer.
Aye.
If you want the SNP to survive, you're going to have to put the hat around. Not going to happen otherwise. And other people that are in, I'm just reading about Salvo and Alba and all the rest of it, right? If you want independence, I would put all that to bed and just give your money to the SNP and get behind the SNP and see how fast you can get the thing back on the books again. Because Alba, Salvo, whoever, it's not going to work. It's not going to make any difference
I don't know how to stick this up, David.
whatsoever.
I don't know how to stick this up. Reform fake candidacy conspiracy theory debunked. BBC News. If Byline Times comes up with anything different, then it'll be interesting to read it when they find the truth behind it. But at this point in time, the establishment's saying that it's not true. They didn't put up ghost candidates.
Right, hang on. Austin Butler, can you put that one up, please? Right at the top of the page. Best of luck, Austin.
Listen, it's a democracy, David. They're entitled to stand.
Yeah.
You know, but as we've seen in the general election, nobody even
get on with it, because I'll tell you what, seriously, you're not going to make any difference.
I don't mind them standing in the Holyrood election, because it's a pro-independence candidate. The more pro-independence MSPs we have, the better.
What's that phrase again? Realpolitik?
That's the one.
Right. Well, Realpolitik says that you lot are in for a blooming hiding again and again and again. Maybe in 10 years' time, you might start to make ingress. It's not going to happen for you just now. All right.
No, it's no. And apparently,
Salvo are going to stand in elections. Kevin, Salvo are not going to do anything. They might stand in elections, but they're not going to manage to actually get any
successful. Let's go to the realpolitik of what all these people are doing. They're splitting the movement, they're splitting the vote, and giving everybody else a chance to come through the fucking middle.
But it's already happened. It's already a done deal. We talked about this. Sorry, guys, but they already did the damage. Alba, Salvo, you name it, they already did the damage. They were all pulling 50 different ways, right? If you had all just blooming stayed behind the SNP, we'd have been in a situation where we could have gone for independence at the next election, which is the Scottish election. Not going to happen now, is it? It's not really going to. I don't see it happening.
Look, the people have spoken twice on this issue in 10 years, as far as the establishment's concerned.
Vote SNP on the constituency and Alba on the list. Don't be so fucking stupid, guys. In 1903.
We can have this argument in 2 years' time. As I say, when it come to predicting what would happen to Alba in this election, I was right.
Yeah.
In this election, the stats say they get 10,000 votes.
Yeah.
Apparently, they've got 10,000 members. So that's one vote, one member.
Yeah.
So, whereas the SNP took 600,000 votes,
yes,
they only 72,000 members.
Yeah.
That's where the Alba Party need to get to before they're even making an impact. And they're not going to make an impact.
Yeah.
Simple as that. As for everybody else getting into politics and splitting the vote in umpteen directions within the Yes movement, I warned from my truck what would happen if we did this. We've done it.
Okay, enough on that. Calling a halt to that, right? Next one is Ian Murray sworn in as new Scottish Governor General, right?
Aye.
Or Scottish Secretary, right? Was he better than Alistair Jack? Is he better than Alistair Jack, or is he worse? What do you reckon, David?
He'll be worse.
Aye, I think so. I don't even think Alistair Jack has got a Union Jack suit.
No, Alistair Jack's not got a Union Jack suit, but Murray has. He'll be stomping around the Scotland office with own.
Yeah. So, therefore, there you go. There's what your future is over the next year and a half, 2 years. You're going to have you're going to have this blooming idiot Ian Murray that's decided that he hates Scotland. He might be of Scotland, but he's not for Scotland. You know.
No, it's different though. But
it's such a shame we've got people like that in our own population. Well, people that don't like Scotland, they want the United Kingdom. Yeah. Thanks,
Oh,
John
the
McGowan. Thank
interesting
you.
thing about benefits, that's depending on how much we have in our banks. They can stop your pension credits, etc. Labour get lost. Well, they've got to find money somewhere, and pensioners
Yeah,
have got money.
that's right. Yep.
You know, uh, the
You
bill.
are going to find you're going to find out over the next couple of years just how desperate Starmer and his gang actually are, right? And we are in Scotland. We are going to be heavily reliant on donors from abroad because I'm not going to be able to give as much as I did.
Dave Roy, we have discussed this. There is a Gehont style part of the Scottish elections, yes, and the Council for
Don't,
USTV,
don't waste your time.
and
Don't waste your time.
the
Don't
Holyrood
waste your time.
election. We
Don't
have
waste
a
your time.
poster.
We've got somebody trying to build an argument on the viewers' comments. It's not going to happen. All right. Anyway, right. The next one is we're going to the international or the
It looks
geopolitics.
like
Right.
Biden's sticking to where he is, so it looks like we're going to get a second term of Trump.
Yeah, Biden under pressure. Biden is a bitter old man, and he doesn't want to give up the reins of power under any circumstances. And he's prepared to cost his party the election. And even though people within his bubble, don't forget these politicians, they live within a bubble, and they've got all the people round about them going, "Oh, Joe, you're doing really well. What fantastic, fantastic!" All the rest of it, right? Whereas everybody else is going, "He's a no stupid, silly old git." You know what I mean? And he won't hear that. He
No.
thinks he's doing perfectly, and he needs for somebody just to go, "Get the fuck," right? Sorry for using the French or sorry the Scottish vernacular, right? But that's basically what it comes down to.
I see George Clooney weighed in this debate and all, but no, Biden really should get out the road, but I'm afraid he's not gone. So get ready for Trump, and I guess that'll bring us on to Zelensky
Yes,
and the Ukraine.
I think I think we definitely say that if Trump gets in, that's Zelensky will be shown the door.
Well,
Yeah,
one thing's for sure, he's not going to support Ukraine the way that the
correct.
rest of them have. But
Yeah,
anyways, folks, there's a NATO summit underway, and NATO have vowed irreversible path to Ukraine membership. That
yeah.
ain't going to help anybody, and it's certainly not going to help them. It's going to really rile the Russians up. Are these people trying to start
Right,
World War III?
David. Ginger's Giraffes has said something which is very, very true. His son Hunter is babysitting them in meetings, right?
Aye.
Now, if you look at it, is his son elected to stand as a regent, as it were, somebody that's a deputy president? No, of course not.
Anyway, apparently Biden's promised the air defence systems, 5 of them for Ukraine, as he welcomed NATO leaders to Washington. But as you know, it's looking like November. Biden will not be there one way or another.
Yeah,
You know,
yes.
so Biden pledging the Ukrainians anything, they better be quick off the mark and get them it, because as you and I know, Trump's just going to dump them,
Aye.
the Ukrainians, and then this idea that they can join NATO, or one thing that's good about it is they haven't put a timetable down it, because that might really up the game for that might accelerate Russia's war on
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine. I also see that there's been a hospital in Ukraine bombed, and
Yes.
everybody's screaming war crime, war crime, war crime. And
How
yet,
many people? How many people were killed, David?
2 people were killed, 140 were injured across the Ukraine during this
Yes.
strike.
Well, how many were killed from the hospital?
There was 2 killed, 2
Right.
adults.
So we're not talking about a situation, even though it's dreadful for those two adults, right, and their families. It's still nowhere near the same as the Gaza situation, where a hospital was hit, and with nurses and doctors shot by the Israeli troops set up on walls looking into the windows of those hospitals, right? So in Gaza, so it's not the same. So what we have is a situation there where Zelensky has actually brought that up to be the biggest news story that there ever was.
Well, I
And
say,
people in the West are looking at it and going, "Oh, that's dreadful, a children's hospital." Yes, it is dreadful. It's a children's hospital. However,
aye. However, the West stamps its feet about Putin and
yeah,
his children's and bombing a children's hospital. Where's the same West stamping its feet about all these people dying in Gaza every fucking day?
correct.
Because while everybody's supporting Ukraine, the West is ignoring what's going on in Gaza. And
Yes.
right now, Israel is telling everybody to clear out of Gaza City. The latest Israeli airstrike kills 29 people in a refugee camp, a displacement camp. They've told the people to leave Gaza and go to these placement camps that are supposed to be safe within the Gaza Strip. But what's happening is they're sending them to these places and then just bombing them on open ground.
Or they're sending leaflets to say, right now you can just leave.
Aye.
And that in itself, people think that genocide is something you do with a bullet or a bomb or a missile. Genocide, in actual fact, can be as simple as a threatening letter saying, "We need you out of here."
Well, as I say, when we have a comparison of the amount of deaths in Ukraine over 2 years and the amount of deaths in Gaza, it's speculated that 186,000 people have died in Gaza so far.
Yes.
And only X amount of them are combatants. What we're forgetting is the people who are starving to death, the people
Yep.
who have got illnesses who have died because they can't get treatment.
Yeah.
So it's it's absolutely outrageous to see Western leaders and Western media go mental over two people dying in a rocket attack in Ukraine when and radio silence on 29 people being bombed in what was supposed to be a safe refugee camp within the Gaza Strip.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just shows you it would appear that Palestinian lives have no worth and have no merit. They're just no. Apparently, to the West, the Palestinian people just don't matter. Their lives have no worth.
Yeah.
Uh, but and
All round, it's pretty sickening, guys. Sorry we couldn't have brought you a much more smooth and nice program than this. What we did do was we both made an oath to each other that we would keep it as being a quiet and gentle program if we could, rather than literally shouting blue blazes about the whole thing. What we need to do is we need to think carefully what we're doing over the next while. The Alba, Salvo, and all those other things, they're just distractions. Still in all, you've got the situation where SNP are still the route to independence, but it's got to be here. It's got to actually exist
to
at
survive.
the end of all this, right?
What we can say, David, is the people have taken their eyes off the prize.
Yes, correct.
That is what we can say. Is what we need to do is direct minds and focus people. We did say once. I did. We've all said, every movement has its moment. This one's past. It's time to build it.
I remember after the 2014 referendum, a neighbour of mine said, "Oh, I'm regretting it now. I should have voted for independence," right? And I just walked away for the person because I would have blown my top if I'd have said something.
Right,
And
David, as you know, I've got work to go to.
yeah, okay, fair enough, David.
So we'll start
But,
rounding
but
this one up.
but give it good thought, guys. You need to be deciding: are we going to go Salvo? Are we going to go Alba? Or are we going to go SNP? Because we can only pitch one ride.
Yep. And in this case, this bus needs new wheels, but it's still the only bus.
Yeah, correct.
But as I say, in the 26 election, there's many parties that are pro-independence that want to run. You just split the vote
Yeah.
on the constituency part of the election.
Don't mean to be so. Don't mean to be so brash about it, but it is fact that unless you realise that the SNP are your route to independence, you're not going to. If you talk about Salvo doing it or Alba doing it, you're talking another 20 years.
Yes, well, that's true, David. Now,
You know,
folks, if you like what it is we do, because David and I could grab it all night. If you like what it is we do, please hit the like button, hit the share button. If you
we've both taken different points of view regarding keeping the channel going. David wants specifically to keep the channel going, to keep things going with the SN, but I do too, really, right? But mostly I want to keep the channel going because it's still a route for people to send donations, and it's going to be even more important now that we've got donations for food banks and baby banks. Right. Sorry, Dave.
Now, that reminds me, folks, when I had a wee look at the caption underneath the video on YouTube, for some reason the bank account number had disappeared, but the sort code number was there. I've put the bank account number back on, folks. I think it must have been YouTube that took it down because it wasn't us.
Yeah, it may be YouTube who are supporting Google are doing that. You never know. You know what I mean? So it's probably that we are not the only YouTube channel that are saying to people put money directly into the bank account. And Google, it just takes for Google to complain to YouTube over that, and YouTube will do something about it, right? So there you go. It's easily done nowadays. You write an algorithm, that does it all for you.
Well, I can't write an algorithm. So anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in. In large numbers again. Say, please hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And we'll be back Monday to do it all again. Right.
Yes, we will.
Just leaves one thing left to do, David.